back to Crystal Water Tarot, and welcome to anyone new for another tarot reading. We're going to be asking the spirits and the guides, why did this happen to me? And just kind of seeing why it happened, getting some guidance as to why maybe you're going through something and how maybe you got there. So for card number 1, we have Telling Stories, card number 38. And we're going to use the Saying cards to kind of help select a card. Send Your Smile Out to the World. For card number 2, Bear Medicine, number 1. Don't Be Afraid of a Challenge. And then for card number 3, Father Christmas, card number 13. Do the right thing even when no one is watching. So again, those are the cards to select from. There may be more than one card or one pile that is calling to you. And so go ahead, take your time, and see what feels right for you, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get started. Thank you. Welcome back to Crystal Water Tarot, and welcome to those who chose card number 1, which was Telling Stories, card number 38. What words so tender can be spoken so bravely unless they are true from the truest of words? And with that, you chose Send Your Smile Out to the World. And this card just reminds me of when we were younger, like when we had our parents or our grandparents might have told us stories, or sitting by the fireplace, during the holiday season, of course. But it reminds me of those memories. And again, this reading, we are looking at why did this happen to me? And some of the questions that we're looking at is how did I get here? And so those are what we're going to be looking. Those questions are what we're going to be looking at initially. So let's go ahead, and again, this was card number 38. So let's go ahead and draw our first tarot cards. So we have the Magician in reverse. We have the Seven of Swords in reverse. We have the Strength card. We have the Moon. We have the King of Swords in reverse. Hope you can see that with the light. Then we have let me bring these down a little bit. Then we have the Page of Swords. We have the Knight of Wands in reverse, then the Page of Swords, then the Hangman, and then the Six of Pentacles. So let me just kind of bring this down here a little bit so that way there, you might be a little bit easier to see with the light. So what I'm getting is why is this happening to me? So I feel like whatever this situation is that you may be finding yourself in, or you may have felt yourself in, or you may find yourself in, depending on where you are at in your life, I feel like you, in some aspects with the Magician being in reverse, I feel like others may have played a major role in getting you there. They have may have, of course we know that the Magician in reverse means manipulation, conned. You may feel when you got into this position, you may have felt that you could not say no. You could not, maybe if this was a family situation, family obligation, maybe you felt that you couldn't say no to whatever this is. And so that may be why this happened to you. Maybe that's how you got here. And so whatever this is and how you got there and why did this happen to you, it, I believe, has to do with the fact that it really, it hinged on, I believe, others. It hinged on you feeling that you were being told, maybe you were being told stories. You were being told, this is what others did. This is what, this is what we're supposed to do. And I'm not quite, maybe you weren't told the whole truth. I'm not really sure. But then we have send your smile out to the world. And I believe that when you were being told this, and when you are going through this, or when you went through this, or however this is playing out, you do it with a smile. I don't feel like you do it with any type of ill intent. You don't feel inside that when you're doing this, or when you're going through with this, or when you find yourself in this position, you smile at the world. You know what's going on behind the scenes. You may feel like you are powerless. You may feel like there is nothing else I can do. I don't know how to move on. I don't know what I can do to change this. But you don't let the rest of the world know what's going on. You may not let friends know. You just keep on going. So I feel that you find the reason why this, why did this happen to you, or why maybe will this happen to you, or why is this happening to you? I feel like it has to do with maybe others around you. I feel like it might have to do with, because I am seeing like possibly a grandmother or a grandparent, or a mother or a father, and I see, possibly siblings. I do feel like it has to do with family, possibly family obligations. So that's why I'm thinking this may have happened to you, or is going to happen to you. And I feel like, again, with the Magician in reverse, I feel like, one, you just may have been told this, and you may feel at that time as you're starting this, or however this is proceeding, that you're powerless to change it. You just don't know how to move forward. Then we have the Seven of Swords in reverse, which is, it talks about apologies, lost items returned, basically kind of getting things taken from you. And I feel like it's possible that because you're finding yourself in this of why did this happen to me, why you're going through whatever you may be going through, and keeping in mind why this happened to you, it could be a number of things. It could be a situation that you're going through. You may, why did this happen to me is, it could be anything, what happened to you. So, but whatever it is with the Seven of Swords in reverse, something also may come back. People, if this is family, they may recognize what they did to you. They may recognize that they caused you some pain. So something might also be coming back. They also might recognize it. They may apologize in the future. But right now, I'm not quite sure. But again, and it also means that something was also taken from you. So following this Magician card, that's where I really feel like something was taken from you. And that taken from you, it could have been, you may not have been able to do things that you wanted to do. You may not have been able to go to school. I'm thinking back where, going back to this, I'm going to say like a grandmother, a grandparent, they may not have been able to go to school the way we can now go to school, get an education. They may not have been able to do that. And so, and now we can do that if, we have that opportunity. So, but then we have the Strength card, the confidence. The Strength card basically tells us we can get through this. We can move forward. And the Strength card here is kind of unusual. I like this because it kind of reminds me interestingly enough, as the Hangman, which we've got right below that, because here we have a person sitting there like with a monkey, and monkeys are kind of like, just kind of hanging out, and it kind of, see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil is what's coming to mind. And you've just got this person here just waiting patiently, just swinging back and forth, and just waiting for their time. They have that confidence that their time will come. And so that's what I kind of feel like you're smiling through what you're going through. I feel down deep that you should be able to do this, and whatever this did happen to me, you're saying, why did this happen to me? But then I kind of feel like, how did I get here? I feel like you're sitting there and you're thinking, you're having that patience, you're reflecting. And then I believe that you're realizing that you can get through this. You realize that you have, if you just keep holding on and you just keep swinging back and forth and you just keep riding the winds, you're going to get through it. But it's just a matter of time, is what I'm feeling. And you just have to have the patience to get through it. You just have to have the patience. And if you've already gotten through it, then that just hanging on. And if you look at the little monkey, the monkey's holding on to him. And so that's where I feel like you're just holding on. Then we have the Moon card. The Moon card is, talks about the shadow self, deception, sensitivity, emotional sensitivity. It also talks about a little bit of fear. And I'm not feeling I don't feel that whatever this is and why did this happen to me, I don't really feel that there's any fear here. What I feel is that you may have been told something that may have not been truthful. And that is where I come back with the manipulation. That's where I come back with the Magician card in reverse. And again, I just noticed, here we have another monkey. I love the monkeys. And, you may have been told something that was untrue. You may have been told, or you may have been led to believe something. And so maybe that's how you got here. You may have been told, that this is the way that we do it, or this is what our family always did, if this is a family situation. If this is another situation, maybe a workplace situation, maybe you're in a romantic situation, and this is having something to do with that, how we got here. You may have been led down a path of being, again, definitely told something that may have not been truthful, and that's where the manipulation came in. And when you're trying to change it, you feel like you can't really change it because you feel powerless, because you're being told that this is the way we've always done it, this is the way, what's your problem, how come? But again, I think with the Strength card, you're buying your time. Then with the King of Swords in reverse, I feel like, you just don't want to get in that bad headspace, because we do know with the King of Swords, you can be prejudiced. You can seem like, that you're going to go after what you want, and you're going to do it at no cost. You don't care who you hurt. You don't care what you do. And that might be the other people that may have gotten you to where you are. That may be the other people that have maybe manipulated you, that may have not been truthful with you, but you don't want to be there. You don't want to give that up. And then with the Knight of Wands in reverse, that talks about being impatient and recklessness and, poor behavior. And that, again, is not you. You're going to stick to your truth of being patient, of just waiting it out and buying it out. And that's where I'm seeing it is with the Page of Swords, because with the Page of Swords, you're curious and you just want to be careful. You don't want to be seen as something negative. You don't want to be seen that if something goes wrong, I feel like you don't want it to fall back on you. And you don't want it to feel that, the Page of Swords also talks about, in reverse, talks about that gossipy, that receiving bad news. You might get some upsetting news, which could be that you just found out that, these people might have not been telling you the truth. That could be upsetting. But you don't want that I'm going to call it maybe negative gossipy thing that, did you know that so-and-so did or whatever. And so that's what I'm kind of getting here. So you don't want that. You want to, you're staying with your smile. You're staying with the true you. You're still being patient. You're still being true to who you are. And with the hangman in reverse, you're refusing to surrender to the way they may have treated you, the way they may have gotten you to the place where you find yourself. They may have, you're refusing to change or surrender to that behavior that they may have used to bring you to answer that question of why did this happen to me? Why did it happen to you possibly? Because you are a caring person, because you are true to who you are, because you don't want that negativity. You don't want to, you just don't want it. You're refusing to surrender to that. And then we end up with the Six of Pentacles, which kind of says it all. You're a sharing person. You are a caring person. You are also a giving person. So when it all sums it up, why did this happen to me? Because you are a sharing, helping person. You believe in it. You are a giving person. But the Six of Pentacles talks about giving and taking. What I'm seeing with these cards is you were giving, and while others were just taking. And it wasn't a mutual give and take. You were giving because you were being possibly manipulated. I feel like it's going to come back around, and you're going to get back something that may have been taken. It may be time, it may be money, whatever the case may be. You may get back, if you feel like you may have lost part of your freedom, you may get back that too. I feel like with the Strength card, you are holding on. You're not letting go of that possibility. But what I also feel is with this Strength card is you are also, especially being right underneath, or right on top of the Hangman, is that you are refusing to surrender to their type of behavior. You're not giving in. You're not losing the true you. You are still being that person who cares about others. You're still not giving in to their behavior of the manipulation of maybe, telling things, giving news that might be upset. You're not doing that. You're being you, which is awesome. So let's go ahead and get some more tarot cards of where is this going? You've basically, we've looked at how did this happen, and it looks like some people may have ill intent. And I don't even want to say ill intent. It may have just been, looking back where we've got the grandmother and the two children, it may have just been, this is the way things always were. This is just what was expected. And sometimes it's just the way that it is, which again is no excuse by any means. But sometimes it's just hard to change it. So again, moving forward. And so I believe, why did this happen? Because of the type of person that you are. And please keep in mind, that is not a bad thing whatsoever. This world would be awesome if there were more people like you. And it is an awesome world, but it would even be a better place. And I just love this golden retriever. So then we have the King of Wands. We have the Seven of Cups. We have the King of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Seven of Swords in reverse. We have the Page of Wands. We have the Magician again, falling right under the other Magician in reverse. We have the High Priestess. We have the Eight of Wands in reverse. We have the Ace of Swords. And I think I gotta put this card up here. The Ace of Swords. Then we have the Ten of Wands in reverse. Then we have the 10 of Cups. And last but not least, we have the Lovers. So, with that being said, we start off with the King of Wands, and the King of Wands is security. And again, I'm seeing a lot of patience here. We've had a lot of patience cards come out. You know, we had the Strength card, we had the Strength card, and then we also had, which was the confidence, the patience, and you know, the refusing to surrender, which was awesome. But now we have the King of Wands, which is more patient, generosity. So where is this going? I feel like the patience is going to be paying off. You're coming up with ideas. You're coming up with, you know, options are coming for you, multiple options. And you're also coming up with what you want to do moving forward. You know, those same people, the people that may have, you know, taken advantage of you, they're just kind of like, I feel like they may still have issues, but you're moving on. You're not going to let that hold you back. They may have issues that you cannot control. You know, they may not have the resources, but I feel that with this one here, you're recognizing, and they may tell you that you do not have the resources to move on, but you do. You're going to realize that you have more than what you thought you had, which is wonderful. Then we have the 7 of Swords, which again talks about apologies. And I think we had, why do I think we had the 7 of Swords before? Which talks about apologies, loss. And here we go again. It's coming back around where you had it again. And people are coming back. They're recognizing what they did. And they're coming back, and I feel that they are going to apologize. And whatever you lost is coming back for you. With the Page of Wands, your courage, with the Strength card, your courage is still there. You're staying with this, the King of Wands back here, and with your options that are opening up to you, with whatever was lost that's coming back, maybe those apologies, you're just finding that optimism. You know, you're staying, you're ready to move on. You're ready to hope, because then we have the Magician, and where those people here told you that you really didn't have the resources, and resources don't necessarily have to be money. They could mean people that support you. They could mean that you're coming up with those ideas of how you want to move forward. You're coming up with, you know, what you want to do. Then with the Magician card being flipped right, you're realizing that you have the power. You have the initiative. You can move forward. You have what you need. Then we got the High Priestess. That you've got that gut feeling that you have it this time. You have the ability to move forward. We have the 8 of Wands in reverse. And people may try to stop you. They may try to redirect you. They may try to get in your head with the Ace of Swords. They may put thoughts into your head where just trying to make you doubt yourself. And you're done. You're done with the 10 of Wands. You're done carrying their burdens. You're done carrying the stress that they were putting on you. So then we've got the 8 of Cups, where you're done letting maybe their fears, their negativity hold you back. You're ready to move forward with this Crow basically looking back and saying, I've made my choices. I have choices. I can move forward. So where is this going? Where is this leading to? The possibilities are that you can move this forward, and you can go and do what you want to do. You have the resources if you look for them. You have the options if you look for them. Because then we have the Lovers card. The Lover's card can talk about a relationship if you so choose. It also talks about choices. It talks about love. It talks about union. Maybe you're going to create something with somebody. Maybe you are going to find a mutual partner that you want to be with. Maybe you didn't have that option before. Whatever the case may be. So, that is where this is headed. I see this going where that the burdens that you once thought you had to carry are being lifted. You are moving forward in the direction that you choose to move in with those options that are being offered to you. I feel like you've got your intuition. With the Page of Wands, you are excited. You are, you've got that courage. You feel positive, and you just want to move forward. This, rather than sending your smile out to the world as just maybe hiding something, you really are sending it out because you are truly happy. You're ready to move on. You're ready to live your life. And so with the Lover's card, it's ready to move. You're ready to go. But as I always say, this is your choice. This is a tarot reading. It's all up to us. The choices are yours. Please keep that in mind. So, again, why did this happen to you? It's because of the type of person that you are. You are a giver. You are not, I do not feel that you are a taker. You are a giver. You share things with people. You help people. And that's just the type of person you are. And that is a wonderful thing. And where is this going? I believe that you've got opportunities coming to you. You've got the resources around you, and resources do not necessarily mean money. And you've got the potential for your choices. You've got the potential for what you want. Again, this is up to you on how you choose to move this forward. Now let's go ahead and let's get some oracle cards. Okay, we have release. I feel like you're being released from something that may have held you back. Kind of going back with the, did we have the Eight of Swords? Yes. Seven of Swords. Yes, we had the Eight of Swords right here. I feel like you're being released. You're being released out of maybe a prison that may have been self-imposed or may have been imposed on somebody else by their words. Standing tall. I feel like you're going to be moving forward, and when you do it, you're going to be standing tall with that confidence that I feel you have, and you know you have. And looking forward. You're looking forward. You're looking at a bright new future. And I love this bird. They're all it's a bright future. And I'm looking at a blanket of rainbows, and I see the moon. It's just so wonderful. Then we have 23, Golden Palace. The Golden Palace to me represents the place that you truly believe, the place that you want to make for yourself, a safe place, a place of positivity. Card number 30, making a choice. This is where we've talked about choices, the choices that you have, the choices that you are going to make. And then we have Butterfly Spirit. Transformation is beautiful. I feel like you are transforming. You're transforming maybe, from where you were to where you're going to be. if you haven't already, or if you're just in the process of that, you're going to be transforming. Lizard Spirit, dream the world into being. Maybe, and it's card number 38. Again, dream the world into being. Maybe you're in the process. Maybe you're looking at your choices. Maybe you're looking at where you want to go. Dream the kind of world that you want to live. We just talked about the Golden Palace. And then card number 68, the Wombat Spirit, be at home. Find a place that you dream, that Golden Palace, and that's where you want to be, where you are comfortable, where you can be at peace, where you can be happy and true to yourself. Reevaluate. In the starlight sky, we look for the falling stars. Reevaluate. Reevaluate what you want. Reevaluate where you've been. Reevaluate what you don't want. Your choices. Boundaries. Put a ring around yourself and your energy. If these, whatever the case may be about these people, persons, whatever, maybe if you still, however you choose this, maybe creating boundaries is what happens, so that if you're around these people, they don't try to box you in. They don't try to, you prevent yourself from going back to the old ways maybe that you don't want to go back to. Morning Star, keep shining even when the others have quit. So even if people start to do the negativity with you, the negative words, keep shining with the others. Just keep thinking positive and keep bringing your message across. That way there, again, boundaries. Keep bringing your positivity. We've got believe. Believe in yourself, because I feel you can do it. Laugh. Take time to laugh and enjoy life. I feel like you might have been on edge a little bit. You might have been under a lot of burdens where maybe laughter may not have came easy. Wealth. Wealth doesn't mean necessarily money. Wealth can mean in things that you enjoy. Wealth can mean family. But in a different, maybe you love being around your family, but maybe again, they do cross those boundaries. So again, many different ways. Health, take care of yourself. Take care, maybe you've been taking care of people and you've let your own health be affected. Take care of yourself. Healing, you might need to heal a little bit. You might need to take a break. Work on yourself a little bit again. And passion. If you're looking at creating something, or if you're looking at being with somebody, whatever the case may be, find the passion that makes you happy. Identify that. And that may be coming with the reevaluation. Identify what you're passionate about, what you want in this lifetime. I hope this helps somebody. Please like and subscribe. I hope you join us again. Would love to hear what you have to say in the comments. Thank you for joining Crystal Water Tarot. Have a great one. Okay, welcome to those back to those who chose card number 2, and it was Bear Medicine, card number 1. There is no tomorrow without the healing of the past, for in stillness you shall find yourself right where you are. And the kind of the card to kind of bring you in to choose the card was, don't be afraid of a challenge. And the point of this reading is we're asking, why did this happen to me? Or why is this going to happen to me? Or why did this happen to me? So initially we're going to pull some tarot cards and we're going to look at why, kind of getting an idea of why did this happen to me, and how did I get here? So that's what initially we're going to be looking at. And so let's go ahead and look at some tarot cards. So we have the Strength card. So with the Strength card, I feel like, you're in a place right now where I think you feel confident. I feel like you have, you feel confident, you have strength, but I feel like you're being patient. You may be in a place where, you may be patient, but you may kind of be feeling like, is this ever going to end? Why did this happen to me? Of course, that's the question we're asking right now. But, or you may not even be at that moment in time. And again, I like this card because it's like the perfect picture of being patient, and having confidence just by the way this person is sitting. Then we have the 10 of Wands in reverse. We have the 5 of Cups in reverse. We have the Page of Cups. We have the Knight of Wands. I'm just going to push this down a little bit. We have the Hierophant. We have the 8 of Wands. Actually, I think we can put that down here. The 8 of Wands. We have the Devil. We have the Hangman. We have the Queen of Wands in reverse. We have the Knight of Cups. And we have the 9 of Cups. No, there we go. Okay. So, as I mentioned, with the Strength card, I feel that you do have the confidence. You have the strength, and I really believe that the strength is that you're being very patient. I feel like you're buying your time. And also you're not quite sure of where you're going. I feel like whatever this situation is that you're asking about, why did this happen to me? You are wondering, why am I having to go through this? Why did it happen to me? And it may be a positive thing, but I'm really not sensing that, not with the way that the cards are being laid out. I feel like with the 10 of Cups, whatever this is at this time, you may have been carrying something. And whatever it was something very stressful. And sometimes I believe with it being very stressful, sometimes it may have caused you maybe to possibly come close to losing your patience. It may have brought you close to losing your patience. It may have came close to giving up, but I really feel that you did not. You just stuck with it. With the 5 of Cups in reverse, I feel like you may be sensing, should I have really done that? If I would have. But I also feel the sense that because Cups talk about relationships a lot of the times, I feel like maybe this could in fact be a relationship that you're questioning, why did this happen to me? Maybe you split up, maybe there's something about a relationship, and maybe you are thinking of, or you may be considering, or you may have, whatever it can be, settling for less than what you deserve. Maybe this person offered you something and you feel that's as good as it's ever going to get. And so that's kind of what I'm getting with this 5 of Cups here. So, and that's where it's kind of like, are you going to regret it in the end is what's coming through. And then, with the Page of Cups coming right after that, was there like a first date? Is this your first love? Is this your first, date, boyfriend, girlfriend, relationship, whatever it may be? And so you're just, with this card here, are you just going to settle? Are you just not going to move any forward? And then with the Knight of Wands is things happening fast. You're excited. You're just going to move right thing. But the question is, with these two cards, are you really ready to settle down? Are you really ready to go there? And then with the Hierophant, it's kind of like, are you just following the rules? Are you just doing what you're told? Because the Hierophant talks about traditions, following the rules, advice from others. So, basically, are you just, are people, with this being less than what settling for less, or settling for just what you have being offered, because are people telling, well, he, she, whatever, is this maybe about a job, but I'm not really sensing that. Just be happy. They're offering you something. They're offering you, they're offering you to move in with them. You should be glad because they're a catch. Is that what you're hearing? Is that the message that's coming through? Because the Eight of Wands talks about a message. It does talk about speed. And I'm kind of getting that because then we have with this changing happening quickly, excitement, not ready to settle down. So with this message here coming in, is that the message that you're getting from others? That, basically, you should basically be happy that maybe this person is making this offer to you. And that's kind of what I'm getting, the temptation, with the devil, the agreement, the attraction. Or are you thinking that because you're really attracted to each other, but is there anything really solid there? Is there anything really to gain? Because then we have the Hangman. What about trust? Is there the trust there? Is there something solid that maybe you could base a relationship off of? Because then we have the Queen of Wands, and that talks about bossy, arrogance. That person or persons or you maybe need to be the center of focus. What is this person bringing in? What are they bringing to the table? So we also have we have the Knight of Wands here, and we have the Queen of Wands, and so I'm sensing that whatever this is, let's go back to the question was, why did this happen to me? And how did I get here? Why is this happening to you? Is that maybe are you maybe rushing into something too quickly? And going back to the card, there is no tomorrow without healing up from the past. There is no healing of the past, for in stillness you shall find yourself right where you are. So if you're moving forward, maybe you were in a relationship, and I don't know why I'm going off on relationship cards, but whatever. Maybe you were in a previous job, whatever the case may be. Maybe you were in a different situation, whatever. But whatever the case may be, are you just running into the same situation or a similar situation just because that's what you are being told you should do, or that's what you feel you should do, or because you were just repeating that same scenario over and over again, and there is no tomorrow without healing, and you're not taking time to heal from whatever you're getting over. And then with the Devil card, temptation, attraction, commitment, attachments. Are you attached to whatever this situation is? If you have the need to always be with somebody, have somebody always in your life, are you just, did you break up with somebody and did somebody leave you? Whether that be, did they pass on? Did they leave? However that may be. And now you met somebody else, you're just like, oh, this is love, whatever, and you're just moving right on again. Is it why? What's the trigger here? Why are you doing that? And so maybe have you healed from whatever the past was for you? So again, why did this happen to me? It could be because you're not reflecting. Maybe you're not taking time to heal. And how did I get here? It's the same thing. Maybe you did not take time to heal. So now going back to this person, you may be, this person who may have came back into your life, the job, whatever, may need to be the center of attention. Maybe if you work all the time and this is job related, maybe you left a job thinking, I just do not want to work, 60 hours a week, and I'm never going to do that again because this is what happened. And all of a sudden you found this other job and you find yourself repeating that same behavior again, and you're repeating that same cycle. Then we have the Knight of Cups in reverse. Again, we are talking about, this is why I'm thinking this is related to love and relationship, is we're talking about deception. We're talking about poor mental health. Again, did you take time to heal from the past? Are we still going to find ourselves where we were? So maybe the question is, why did this happen to me? And how did I get here is because maybe you are where you are, when maybe you've broken off with somebody, if this is a relationship, and this is where you ended up the last time you played out this cycle. And then we have the 9 of Cups in reverse, and it talks about comes with a price. If somebody gives you something, it comes with a price. If you overindulge, we've got the Devil card, it comes with a price. So, maybe you think if this is somebody that you just came into your life, and that person is, they give you, they buy you things, they take you out places, whatever the case may be, that may come at a price for you, which may be, are you going to be truly happy with this person? Because they may be bossy, they may be arrogant, and I'm sensing they may put you down. They may, when you're out with a crowd, they may belittle you. And I'm just looking at the Devil card, and I'm just feeling that energy. So it all may come at a price. And are you going to be truly happy? And if you go through this, are you going to find yourself back where you were in another time? So that's kind of where I'm getting. So going back to the original question, why is this happening to me? I feel like maybe you're not taking time to reevaluate. Maybe you're not slowing down. Maybe you're just, what if this is a relationship? Maybe you're being patient. You have that confidence. Maybe you have that confidence to let go of whatever burdens you're carrying, and you've lost something, but you're kind of like, you're playing the part of this, I've let go of that, I'm moving on, I have the confidence, I can find somebody else, and you're gonna go right back into it, and you're just right back out there, and you're changing, and you're just moving right along. And what you're ending up finding is, or maybe that's what you did in the past, and you're listening to everybody else telling you, oh, you can do it, and you're repeating a cycle, is what I'm hearing. And I'm not quite sure if that makes sense or not. But that's kind of, and again, the confidence. What's coming to mind with the confidence card is, I do feel that you're confident, but is it true? Are you deceiving yourself? And with the Knight of Cups, is the deception, are you deceiving yourself with the confidence that you're okay? That you're okay with what happened, that you're ready to move on, and that may be the deceiving card. That that being alone, not having somebody, might be that might be an unbearable stress. That might be the 10 of Cups. That you can't, that you don't like being alone. That when you're alone, you're not able to just be. And that's where you regret your decision, maybe to leave somebody or to move on from somebody. And so that's where you then go out, you meet somebody, and the cycle just starts all over again. And then you just listen to people, and that people may be you. You also may look back, and you also may see with the Hierophant that, maybe people in your family have always been in relationships, and that's where you're getting that thought. It's always traditions, that you're always with somebody. And so that's how this may be coming along. That may be the message that has been passed down. So yeah, that's what's. And then you may also need to let go of control. Let go of control, not in the sense of, let go of control in meeting somebody. Let go of control of maybe let things play out. Don't be in such a hurry, maybe, if this is a relationship as I'm reading it. Let things play out, because I'm also looking at this card, this 8 of Wands, and when I look at this, you have time. Just take a break. You don't want to keep repeating this cycle, if this is a cycle that you keep repeating. because it seems like with the thing here, you keep coming back to you. Normally, the Nine of Cups talks about your wishes and your dreams coming true, that sort of thing. But that doesn't seem to keep happening. That doesn't seem to happen. You keep coming to the end where I feel like you keep being disappointed. Something keeps happening where you don't get to where you want to be. Okay, let's grab some more tarot cards. Where is this going? We've got it where we kind of figured out why this is happening. That you're kind of maybe moving on from something, and you may be rushing it. You may be repeating a cycle. You may be following old traditions, or you may be kind of following where, this is the way it's always been done. You may be moving, you may not be like being alone if this is a relationship. You may be, showing something of a confidence that's not there. You may be being alone, maybe too much to handle. You see your friends with partners and that sort of thing. So, and also you're not giving yourself time to heal. So that's kind of where I feel this is maybe why this is happening. And this is how you got yourself maybe to in this place where I don't feel you're happy right now. You're kind of maybe feeling a little bit lost, and you're not really happy, and you may be willing to take less than, you may be willing to settle for less than what you deserve. So then we have the Star card in reverse, the Justice card in reverse, and the Sun card in reverse. And just with those cards, just looking at them very quickly, I feel like you're looking for a sign from somebody. You're kind of feeling like, I'm almost ready to give up here. What else am I supposed to do? Life isn't fair. What? I need a break with the Sun. When is it going to be my turn? When am I going to find the right one? When am I going to get a chance to be happy? Then we have the Four of Pentacles. I feel like you're stuck in this situation. And the situation, I feel like, is, as I mentioned previously, that you just keep repeating a cycle of maybe just going through relationships, if this is a relationship one. If it's a work, maybe it's a job one, where you just keep going through positions and jobs and just not finding that right fit for you. And you're like, when is it going to be my turn? Then we have the Fool card. And I feel like sometimes you're looking for a fresh start. You're looking to find that, again, when is it my turn? Maybe if I start over, a new beginning with a new job, a new person, whatever. Then we have the Five of Swords. And it's like, the Five of Swords talks about backstabbing, people talking, saying bad things, possible violence, Then we have the Emperor in reverse. We have the Six of Wands. We have the Two of Wands. We have the Ten of Cups in reverse. We have the King of Swords. And we have the Ace of Swords. So, as I mentioned with the Five of Swords, basically people who you trusted may not be, interestingly enough, landing on the Hierophant. So maybe these people who you trusted giving you advice might not be the ones you want to trust. Might not have your best interest. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. Sometimes people do things not intentional. People do things because they think that they have your best interest, but they don't necessarily think it through. So that's kind of what I'm getting there. With the Emperor in reverse, I'm getting, if maybe you need to be a little bit more forceful. Maybe when you do this, you need to look at things. And I'm sensing that maybe if this was a person, maybe these people, whatever, maybe with what they're telling you, maybe they kind of have that control where maybe they kind of abuse what they have over you. If this is a job, maybe if you're in a position, maybe they abuse their power over you. Not quite sure about that. But whatever. Maybe you just kind of maybe need to step forward a little bit, and maybe if you're making a decision that says it's time for me to heal and I don't need to be in a relationship right now, maybe you need to voice that a little bit. Maybe you need to be a little bit more forceful and let people hear what you have to say. Then we have the Six of Wands. And I feel like with that one, you need to, with the little roosters, you need to celebrate you. You need to take time to celebrate what you have accomplished. And I know this comes out of left field, but coming on the devil, that usually talks about, again, that temptation, that, needing that attachment. Take time to celebrate you. Again, if this is in a relationship, why don't you start doing small things to recognize yourself? If you are by yourself, do some small things. Go out, enjoy your life by yourself. Recognize that you don't need to be in a group to stand out. You don't need a group around you. You don't need to be with somebody to enjoy your life. That is not really necessary. Then we've got the Two of Wands. Go out, explore your options. Maybe if you're exploring your options, if this is a relationship, you're going to meet the right person. You're going to meet that right person that's going to compliment you, that's going to look forward to seeing you, that's going to just lighten you up, that's really going to just make you happy. With the Ten of Cups in reverse, right now I feel like the Ten of Cups talks about, not feeling supported. Maybe if you go out and you start celebrating yourself and doing things for yourself, exploring your options, you're going to actually find somebody that's going to support you. You're going to find somebody who's going to fill your life up, and you're not going to feel incomplete. Then we have the King of Swords. The King of Swords kind of thinks with their head instead of their heart. And it starts, and going back with the Justice card, focus on the justice. Well, here we're thinking like, why not me? Why can't this happen? Well, look back. Look at everything you've gone through. Look at the fact and recognize the fact that this may be a repeating behavior, that maybe you're just repeating patterns. Maybe it is time to recognize yourself. Maybe it is time to step out and looking at all of your options, rather than just listening to the people who may just be, maybe it's yourself who just keeps you in this ongoing pattern. Because at the end of the day, where you're going, where it's going is if you decide, if you choose, if you try. The potential is there for the possibility of a new relationship, of new love, of new opportunities, if you so choose, with the Ace of Cups. But you need to make that choice. As I always say, it's all up to you. It's what your choices are. This is just a tarot reading. This is just what I see. But it lands up to you. It is up to you on how you choose it. But the potential is there. The options are there. It's what you choose. So let's go ahead and draw some oracle cards. So again, how do we get here? Behavior. How we chose to proceed. Not moving forward. Staying in a pattern maybe. Changing, always, not moving forward. Continuing in the same behavior. And then where is this going? It's going in the possibilities of finding new relationships, finding new love, finding new options, opening up potential. I feel like you're on the right road, but I just feel like, you keep trying, but you just keep coming back to to where you started over again. And I feel like if you recognize that and you realize and you learn that you can stand by yourself, because I see this rooster, I guess it is, standing on top and keeping their balance and having the patience to balance themselves, especially with the King of Swords finding balance in their life. I feel like you can move forward and you can find all the things and all the enjoyment and all the love and opportunities in your life. And that, and finding the sign, and you know, that sign is going to be there. You just also have to be open to receive. Okay, we have walk with wings. I feel like just walk with the energy, walk with wings, you know, walk with that hope, you know, just glide, just walk with that enthusiasm, because we talked about here having that patience, that confidence, and keep that confidence up. Walk with wings, walk like you have that confidence, even if you don't, even if you just kind of show it on the outside. Keep walking with that. Changing faces. I feel like you're going to, you know, maybe as you move on, maybe you need to change as you heal. You know, your face is going to change, you know, changing, transforming, changing your appearance, looking, you know, just making yourself be the way you want yourself to be. Ride the wave, card number 14. You know, maybe you need to be patient and you need to cycle through it, and maybe being alone for a short period of time to get you where you need to be, that's going to be riding the wave, because if you look at it, we've got two dolphins. And at the end, you have the potential to find the person you need to be. Card number 19, Dragon's Lair. I feel with this card, this also reminds me of the Tower card. I feel like, you know, why did this happen to me? I feel like you needed that you're going to need to experience maybe being alone for a short period of time, just so you learn how to appreciate yourself. And that way there, you're not going to be you're not just going to settle for what somebody has to offer you and what they think you should have. You're going to know what you want and what you deserve. And then card number 26, Deep Freeze. If this kind of reminds me of like the Five of Swords card about the slander, you know, maybe backstabbing, people saying, don't let people freeze you out if you don't agree with what they say. Don't let people give you that cold shoulder if you don't agree with them. If you don't feel that you need somebody, if you don't feel that if they introduce you to somebody and they think they're like it, don't go there. You know, you deserve what you think you deserve, and you don't settle for less. Dove Spirit, be peace. You know, card 21, be at peace with yourself. And then I truly believe this, when you are at peace with yourself, you'll be at peace with the world, you'll heal, and you'll be able to move on, and you'll be able to appreciate life. Then we have card 18, Deer Spirit, bring a gentle touch. Bring a gentle touch. Bring a gentle touch to yourself and the world around you. You don't need to necessarily be forceful with people. You don't need to come down with a sledgehammer. You can be at peace and share your opinions. These people might go about it in a negative way if they so choose, but that doesn't have to be your way. You can be at peace and you can do it with a gentle touch. Thrive. There's enough space for the moon and her stars not to tear each other down. And again, if people say bad things or say things, you don't need to play in their world. It's just not necessary. Radiate, let your light shine through. If you're at peace and you're gentle and you're at peace, your light's going to shine through. And again, if this is a relationship reading, that is going to attract true and real love. Eclipse celebrates cycles. And again, celebrate yourself. We all go through cycles in our lives, and this could be just a cycle. Self-care. Spoil yourself in the moonlight. Again, going back to celebrate yourself. You deserve it. We've got inspire. Inspire. Find that inspire yourself. And if you inspire yourself, you're going to inspire others. Maybe others around you feel like you do. Maybe others around you are afraid to take that step. So inspire yourself, and you will inspire others. Clarity. Find clarity on how you want to proceed. Find clarity on your next steps. Find clarity on what you feel you deserve. Accept. Accept yourself, but also don't accept anything less than what you feel you deserve. Peace. We have peace again. We just had be peace. Again, be at peace with yourself and the world around you. Healing. I believe when we first started this, you heal. Because you need to heal before you move forward. Wisdom. These people may think they have wisdom, but it may not be the wisdom you need. You need to also have your own wisdom. You need to feel what you need. Believe. Believe in yourself. Have that real confidence. If the confidence we spoke about earlier is that confidence just that you put on for show, find that true believe that you have that confidence that you show to the world. Believe in yourself. Thank you for joining Crystal Water Tarot. I hope this helps somebody. Please join me again. And again, thank you for joining Crystal Water Tarot. Have a good one. Welcome back to Crystal Water Tarot. And for those who chose card number 3, it's Father Christmas, card number 13. How did thy get here? Lost perhaps? No worries at all. Gather yourself and clear the frost, for the good still lives in you, dear. And the same card that you chose, do the right thing even when no one is watching. So, and it's I think I said card number 13. So let's go ahead and, again, this reading is, why did this happen to me? And so in the first set of tarot cards, we're going to be looking at why did this happen to me and how did you get here? And that's kind of, interestingly enough, the card is how did I get here, which is interesting. So let's go ahead and look at some tarot. We have the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Nine of Swords in reverse. We have the Queen of Wands. We have the Seven of Cups. We have the the Magician. We have the Lovers. We have the Three of Wands in reverse. We have the Devil. The Sun in reverse. The Knight of Wands. The Eight of Wands. And the Six of Wands. So, I think that, why is this happening and how did you get here? I think that for some reason, you may be giving up on something. You may be, and what I'm just kind of seeing is this card here just kind of, the right thing even when no one is watching. For some reason, you may feel that you may have been working on something, you may be working on something, maybe you've already done this and you were working on something and you felt like, why am I bothering? What good of it's going to come? And sometimes I feel like maybe sometimes when we work on things that we don't see the potential that they have. Nobody sees the potential that you have, and we sometimes give up on it. And again, that it could be because we have the Lovers, it could be a relationship, it could be a job, it could be anything really. And so, and how did you, again, keep going back, is how did you get here? And so, you could, maybe in the beginning of whatever this was, you were really inspired. You were really like, this is the right thing, and I have a lot of hope. But for some reason, you're giving up. You're not, you feel like the energy, whatever you're putting into this, you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. So the Nine of Swords in reverse, you're thinking about it at night. It's like you're thinking about it constantly. It's like always on your mind, and not necessarily the actual thing that you're working on, or if it's a relationship or a thing. You're focusing on why I'm giving up. Why am I doing this? So you're not so focused on the actual thing of whatever this is, but you're actually focused on why am I bothering? What good's going to come of this? The Queen of Wands, we have, people is an independent person. Life is living life to the fullest, confidence, that sort of thing. And I'm not, that's what you want. That's how you want to be. And that's not what I'm feeling that's not what, I don't see that's what you're seeing. Like with right here, with these two cards here, you're not seeing that. That light at the end of the tunnel is what I feel this is. The living life to the fullest, the confidence. That's what I feel at the end of the tunnel. That's where that should be. And that's what I feel you're not seeing. With the Seven of Cups, it's like, it talks about multiple options, coming up with ideas, lost in thought. And I feel like you're lost in thought, but you're lost in thought because of the obsessive thinking of, you're not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. You're thinking about what you don't have. You're thinking about, should I just give up on this because is it really going to pay off? So you're focused on the end rather than what you're actually going through, if that makes any sense. Then we have the Magician in reverse. That talks about, I don't see that, I don't really feel, normally it talks about manipulation, powerless. I feel like you may feel powerless at this time. You're not quite sure what to do. You're having sleepless nights. I think you know what you want, but I don't think you necessarily know how to turn it around, whatever this is. So then we have the Lovers card. Again, this does talk about love. It does talk about union, but it also does talk about choice. So I'm not really sure you quite know what your choices or what your options are, even though we talked about card number 7 or 7 of Cups, which is options, lost in thought. I think you're so lost in thought about giving up, about why bother, that you're not seeing what your options are. You're not seeing how to turn this around so that, how did we get here? You can get out of where you are. And, why did this happen to me? I think it's because you're so focused on maybe, you're not seeing the bigger picture necessarily. You're not seeing where this can lead you or the light at the end of the tunnel. You're just kind of blocked. So then we have the Three of Wands in reverse. And, delays, things, you're planning. I think in the beginning, you had this awesome plan, whatever it is. Maybe if it is a partner, maybe if it is a relationship, you saw how you wanted your life to be. If this is a job, if this is a creative project, if it's writing a book, whatever it is, you saw how you wanted it to go. You saw what you wanted, but for something got blocked. Something came in and just disrupted you. And so that's kind of causing it. So it's blocking your way. Then we have the devil. The devil talks about temptations. It talks about commitments. It talks about attraction, agreements. I think the devil, it might be, in reverse, it talks about obsessions. But I'm also thinking, is there something here maybe about commitment? Are you not putting the time in that you need to get the results that you need? So if this is a relationship, are you not putting the time in? If this is a job, are you not putting the time in? If this is a creative project, are you not, whatever this is, are you not putting in the effort? Are you not putting in what you need to get what you want back? So again, not really, again, this can be a lot. You may think you are, but maybe you need to reevaluate it. Maybe you need to think about, or did you underestimate what you needed? Did you think, this was going to be easy breezy, and not necessarily the case? So then we have the sun in reverse, which again talks about delays or overwhelmed by success or loss of energy, recovery. And again, overwhelmed, loss of energy, which kind of goes back for me to the Seven of Pentacles in reverse, which talks about wasted energy. So are you putting your energy in the right place? Are you putting in the time? Are you focused where you need to be focused? So if this is, if this is a relationship, if it's a job, if you're creating something, are you focused in the right area, or are you so focused at the end of the tunnel that you're not focused on the tunnel as you're going through the tunnel? Then we have the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands talks about changes happening quickly. You're talking about excitement, not ready to settle down when it's in this here. So, as you're working through whatever this is, how did we get here? How did this happen? How did we, again, get here? Did it happen too quickly? Were you not prepared? Which is always the thing. We have the Eight of Wands, another wand card, which again is creative. It's, those are moving cards. And the wands are like passion. They're fire. They're moving. And here we've got the clock, which talks about speed of things moving forward. Change is happening quickly. We're talking about speed and time. Did things happen too quickly? Are you not prepared? Again, then we have the Six of Wands, which talks about fame, success, celebration. Did something happen too quickly that you were not prepared for? And so did we get to the end of the tunnel, that we did not see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we got to the end of the tunnel, but it wasn't what you expected? And how did we get here? And if we got to the end of the tunnel and it wasn't what you expected, because we've got all these people here and you're sitting here and people are celebrating, but you're not quite sure it's what you wanted to be celebrating, it's not necessarily what you expected it to be. It's not how you expected it to be. If this is a relationship, maybe you got married, maybe you moved in together, and it's not what you expected it to be. Maybe you created a project and other people are now becoming involved, and you thought, oh yeah, maybe people invested in your project, whatever, and they gave you money and they gave you the resources, and you lost some type of control over it. Maybe it's not what you expected it to be. So, how did we, why did this happen to me and how did we get here? It could have been maybe the expectations of what you thought the payoff was different. Maybe you thought how you were going to get there was different. The obligations may have been different than what you thought is a possibility. Maybe how quickly it happened may have affected you. Maybe you weren't quite ready. Maybe the Knight of Wands talks about settling down if this was a relationship. Maybe if this was a relationship, you both were attracted to each other and it moved very quickly and you weren't ready for it. It happened too quickly. So I think in all, basically, you had options. And I think that based on what I'm feeling and what I'm seeing, that whatever this is, it might have been the light at the end of the tunnel wasn't what you expected. It may have moved too quickly, and you just weren't prepared for it. And the sleepless nights were that what you thought you were going to get at the end of the tunnel, or as you were moving through this, as if you're going through this right now, you may be looking and wondering, is it worth it? Maybe you're going through some stressful things right now. Is it worth it? Is this what I really want to do? So I believe that, you're focused more on the ending, and maybe if you've already gone through this and you're at the end, you may now realize that you focused so much on the ending that you had options as you were going through this to make changes, and you didn't, and you weren't focused on that. As you're going through this right now, I think you may be focused on the ending. You're focused at the end, and you're so focused on seeing the end of the tunnel that you may be missing out on the changes that you could be making. So why did this happen to me? Because of maybe where your focus is right now. And how did I get here? Could be where your focus is. You may need to slow down. You may need to pay attention. You may need to take your time. And you just may need to see what's being recognized. You also may need to wonder if this is something you are looking to be successful in. Is the success worth what you're going through? Seeing the payoff. Are you really going to be, is the success at the end going to be worth all of this? Are you, all of that is basically coming to what's coming to mind. So let's go ahead and get some more tarot. And now we're going to look at, where is this going? Where could this possibly go? So we have the Three of Hearts. Excuse me. That was right. We have the Three of Swords, and there's a heart. We have the Ace of Wands. We have the World. We have the King of Swords. We have the Eight of Swords in reverse. We have the Four of Pentacles. I think we're going to be able to get these all in here. And we have the Nine of Wands. Then we have the Eight of Cups in reverse. We have the Sun. This time it's not in reverse. We have the King of Pentacles. We have the Death card. We have the Two of Pentacles. We have, interestingly enough, we have the Six of Wands again. And we have the Four of Wands. So, with this here, I'm definitely seeing that, I'm seeing you actually maybe taking a break for a second. Maybe kind of stepping back, and you may suffer, there may be some disappointment. You may realize that things are not going as you planned. Things may need to slow down. Things may be progressing a little bit too quick. So I do see that there is the potential for disappointment. Where is this going? Definitely with the Three of Swords, there is definitely some possible heartache or possible disappointment in how you progress. Because if you're moving quickly, or if you're only focused on the end result and not really paying attention to what you're going through, on how you got to where you are, then there is the potential for disappointment. Where is this going? So, potential for disappointment. However, with the Ace of Wands, it could open up new initiative. You could find at the end of it. So if this ends up not going where you want it to go, if it does end up at the end of the tunnel, if it does end up, you end up there saying, this is really not where I want to be, or this is not how I want it to be, you could end up finding a new passion. You could end up finding something better than what you expected, which would be great. It may be the end of a journey. It may be that you complete something, that you're starting over. With the King of Swords, you might kind of refocus. You might kind of rebalance with the healing. You might just kind of realize that maybe this wasn't the direction that you wanted to be headed in. Maybe you were so focused at the end of the tunnel that you need to rebalance yourself and you need to maybe start your journey over again because you came to the end of this journey and it's time to start a new journey. If this is in a relationship, maybe you and that person just need to reconnect. Maybe you need to start over again. So then we have the Eight of Swords in reverse. This is getting control of your life and being mindful of maybe what your next steps are. Understanding that you need to refocus. Going back to the King of Swords, that you need to understand that maybe you don't need to be so focused at the end of the tunnel isn't so important as what you go through to get there. Because as you're going through to get to the end of the tunnel, going through that is what influences the ending of the tunnel. Then we have the Four of Pentacles. That talks about security, not moving from the current situation, being stubborn. So do you want to stay in that where you are, or do you want to move forward? And with there is that you want to save up. You want to make sure that before you move forward, that you are secure, that you are healed, and that you're ready to move. You basically can move forward, and you are moving forward in a safe, positive way. Then we have the Nine of Pentacles. You're protective. Believe in yourself and believe that you can move forward in a positive way. Eight of Cups in reverse. If this is a relationship, or if this is a project that you believed strongly in and you are passionate about it, does it deserve a second chance? Revisit it, reevaluate it, look back, because where is it going from here? It deserves, as I remember saying earlier, maybe you just need a fresh start, endings, starting over. Maybe this is revisiting it, coming back around, whether it be a partner or a passion, whatever it may be, taking a second look and wondering, maybe that's not how this end of the tunnel worked, but maybe if we try again and we actually communicate and pay attention to as we go through this tunnel, maybe it'll have a different ending. The Sun. The Sun is happiness and success. And that is what this is all about. It has the potential for that. It has the potential, if you choose to go forward, for that possibility of having happiness and success and celebration. The King of Pentacles. You're going to have that potential to be generous. You have that potential to be secure. But the biggest thing is, when you go through this again, if you so choose to, because as I generally say in all of my readings, this is a tarot reading. The choice is yours, not mine, not anybody's. It is yours. And if this is a relationship reading, the other person's. Have patience this time. Don't stay so focused on the ending of where you want to be. Focus on it and have patience and look at your timing and just, go with the flow and have patience and move through it. The Death card talks about transformation and release. If there was negativity in the past, let it go. Be open to change. Maybe the last time when you went through this, maybe you didn't talk to the person. Maybe you didn't want to release what you had. Maybe you weren't open to change. Maybe it's now time for that change, for transformation. We have the Two of Pentacles. That talks about balancing. Maybe the time you need to balance out, if this is with a person, balancing between both of you. And if this is a project, maybe balancing your work life and your personal life. Finding balance between your passion and your health, your life. Not just so focused on that end result. We have the Six of Wands again. And I think this time we have celebration right after it. I think this time, where is this going? Is if maybe, if you so choose, maybe the second time around, you're going to find that recognition and that celebration. And it's going to feel good this time. It's not going to maybe feel so overwhelming. It's not going to feel like, was it really worth it? And if you go through it this time, you're not going to be questioning, was it worth it? Is the payoff really going to be good? Do I really want to do this? It's not going to be so questioning whether or not it was worth it. What is it really worth going through this? Is it really worth the being tired? Is it really worth whatever, the negativity, whatever you may be going through? I feel it's going to be a more positive outcome for you than what it was previously. So that's kind of what I'm feeling right in this one. So where is it going? I feel you're going to a much better outcome if you give it a second chance, or if you choose to try something different. Either way, I feel that you're going to have a much better outcome. But with whatever outcome you go through, don't focus so much on the end result. Focus on as you're going through it, because that affects your end result. Whether it's be a relationship, a job, a passion, whatever. Because as you're working through it, what you put into it is what you get out of it. That is what I have for that. So let's go ahead and get some oracle cards. But again, it is your choice. It is you choose to what you go through. You choose on how you move forward. And if this is with another person, they also decide. It's what they also choose and how to move forward. Okay, so we have Raven's Wand. And with this Raven's Wand, I feel like with the wand, you have the power. You have it within you, the resources. You have it within you, the patience to create whatever you want to create and make it happen with however you want to make it happen. It's just, you just need to have the patience. And you can and with this here, all you have to do is just wave your wand and you can create. Wild at Heart, I feel it's that creation. I feel the music at the end. Again, I'm feeling passion and creativity, and you can fly, you can soar. Then we have number 3, Wizard of Awareness. And this person here just makes me think you're looking on how to move ahead. So with how is, where are we going? I'm this time around, I feel like you're really evaluating the Wizard of Awareness. You're stopping, you're thinking, you're evaluating on how you're going to move forward this time. Card number 51, Moonlight. And this time here, I feel like with the Moonlight, you're going to move forward, but you're not going to be up so much at night. It's not going to keep you up thinking, the end plan, is this really going to be worth it? I think you're going to know deep in your heart this time that it really is worth it. And then Ghostlands, number 17. And I'm seeing, this just reminds me of a clock. And then I'm seeing like signs and stuff. And I see that with this moving over, I just don't feel like this time you're going to feel like things are wasted. You're going to feel like the energy and the time that you put into this is not wasted. It's worth it. And then we have Crow Spirit, co-create with Spirit, card number 17. So when you're doing this, you're whatever you're creating, whether it be a relationship, a project, whatever the may be, you're doing it with Spirit. You're doing it with open and good intentions, and you've got that positivity with you. Then we've got card number 39, Moth Spirit, surrender now. And the surrendering now is, I feel you're surrendering to Spirit, and you're surrendering to positivity. You're surrendering to having faith that you can do this, whatever it is, and that this time, if you follow your path and you follow and you look around the tunnel as you're moving through it, rather than just focusing on the end result and not really working as you're going through, meaning paying attention, making those necessary changes as you move through, you're gonna have a good result. Swan Spirit, time for a deep dive. And I feel that card is going back to evaluating, looking at what you may have missed the first time around. Now you're coming back around and you're doing that second chance. Look at what you missed. What didn't you see the first time? And then we've got card number 31, Groundhog Spirit, time to let go. And I think I spoke about that earlier, letting go of that control, letting go and just moving forward, letting go and taking that chance to just move and trust that everything's going to balance out for you. Courage, wish upon a star, and release all limiting beliefs. So if you had any limiting beliefs before, like that were keeping you up at night, like this is never going to happen, it's not going to turn out the way I want it to, maybe rather than having limiting beliefs, maybe open up your expectations. Rather than saying this is the way that I want it, this is what it's going to be, or saying it's not going to turn out this way, it's not going to turn out, maybe just kind of like open up this all kinds of possibilities. Limitless, know your worth. Know that you can do anything if you set your mind to it, but don't limit yourself to what the possible outcomes can be. Replenish. The sun will rise and we will try again. That's what we're talking about. Second chances, trying again, trying a new way, whether this be a relationship or a passion or a job. Dream. Wish upon a star. And again, I think, if I'm correct, this might not be the one, but dream, wish upon a star, have hope that this can turn out to be something that is worth putting your time and your energy into. We have believe in yourself and believe in that there can be a positive outcome. Happiness, you can have it if you so choose. You just may need to work towards it, work on it, relax. Don't keep yourself up at night in your head thinking about the ending. Work towards the ending, work on creating an ending that you can be happy with. Wealth isn't necessarily financial. Wealth can be anything. Love. If this is a relationship, you're going to be finding that love. And again, be open. Desire. What are you looking for? What are you trying to create? What do you want? Focus. Don't focus so much on the ending. Focus on the things as you go through them as well. Hope. Don't lose hope or faith. Don't lose hope that it's going to turn out the same way as it did before. Keep believing that you can make it change and keep going forward. But again, pay attention, watch as you're going through the tunnel. Just don't focus on the ending of the tunnel. Focus on the tunnel itself as you go through it. So where is this going? If you so choose, this can go towards a much different ending of the tunnel than what you may have experienced before. So I hope this was helpful to someone. Thank you for joining Crystal Water Tarot. Please join again. Please leave me a comment. Thank you. Please like and subscribe. I hope you join us again.